what, you know, and it,
Finding everything.
yeah. The amount of health insurance premiums budgeted, what we actually budgeted for health insurance premiums for this year with the 9.2% GMR. And then what the actual amount of the health insurance premium is now with the new one. I know you gave me the difference, but I'd like to see
Yeah.
them both written down as to what we're gonna be spending. The amount of regular ed high school tuition and special education high school tuition budgeted at the GMR, the total. And then,
The difference.
special ed and high school, yeah, for both, for 15%. And then the amount of regular ed high school tuition and special education high school tuition at the new GMR, the 10 point, whatever it is, I can't remember. I'll have
Right, I
to-
think it's.
But that's not the final GMR, that's.
No, it isn't, right.
We may have the final.
And
version.
then if
Okay.
we have received it, the actual
Okay,
rate,
I know what you're
okay,
looking
for both regular ed and special ed. I can give you this sheet, cause I don't
yeah,
need it
I
anymore.
don't need it, yeah.
And then may I have a report, and this doesn't have to be done right away, but it will help me analyze a couple things that I'm looking at. Could I have a report on the total actual payments to Sanborn for regular ed and special ed and capital costs for each of the school years starting 2007, 2008, and going up till the current school years? There's a reason I'm asking for that, it's really
Okay.
not just to waste your time.
for. No,
No, so
it's all
7, 8
part-
going forward.
Yeah, I'll give you this.
Just so you know though, on the bill, they do not break it out by capital costs. I'll
Well,
have to,
we
I
should
can
have it in the letters.
I can research
Actually,
it.
if that's okay, because what I really just want is an inclusive number. What did we totally, not what did we budget, but what did we pay Sanborn in 2007, 2008 for high school
Okay.
tuition?
That's
All of
easy.
it, the paras, everything. So if it's
That's
all in one
easy.
lump sum,
Yeah.
all I wanna see is
Because they
that
don't break,
number.
on the bill, they just say like, $16,725
Yeah,
per student.
I don't mind
And
that
then they
it's
break
not,
out a portion like you saw in the 1200 function for the sped students.
Mhm.
And then there's a third piece that says like $50,000 to paraprofessionals. So it's in
Mhm.
3 components.
yeah, all I want is like, I wanna know what we spent with them for those years, for everything we paid for them.
Are we able to, do the billing on those paras since we pay that cost for the Medicaid?
What do you,
Well,
that I
we're-
don't know what Nan and
Oh,
Sarah
Nan.
take care of
Well,
that.
I
We'll
would-
find out.
Yeah, I would hope that since
Yeah.
we're paying for it, that we would,
I suspect like in the same way that we receive adequacy money, we receive Medicaid for our kids. So,
That is a good question, though.
Yeah,
I don't-
it is a
because
good
we,
question.
that's a
we
lot of money.
don't
We haven't
pay
checked
it directly.
Mhm.
It's not something that she may have thought of, quite
Okay.
honestly. I don't even know if she would be privy to that information. I'm not
Well,
sure.
I'll check with
Yeah.
Melissa. Good question.
So I'll give that to you, Sue, cause
Yeah.
that's what I'm looking for.
I just wanna,
To really be able to
The one I
analyze this.
had. Okay, so you're looking, that first request is just one
Right,
person.
because, yeah, I mean, the budget committee took out an average when they took out the person they took out, so that's already out of the budget, but I wanna know what the second
different
position is gonna be made up of for dollars.
Do you want both, or just?
We're gonna have to.
But one's already out of the budget, correct?
It was an
But
But
average,
not
It'll be an
exactly.
it was an exact amount.
It was,
they
it
just-
wasn't a net, it
It
was,
wasn't
it was
person.
a, blanket dollar
I
amount.
guess the difference for that first person that they already cut, perhaps,
That's what
because
I'm
there's gonna be
saying.
a little bit more probably saving.
For instance, if you'd had somebody that say got paid $35,000, it might really be a $52,000,
Instead of a $47,000 cut
Correct.
that they took, yeah.
And they didn't cut.
That would be helpful. I just don't wanna, include something that they already took out of our budget.
no, it would have to be the difference between
Right.
what it actually cost and
Mhm.
what was removed.
Yeah. If that's not too much trouble, that would be fine.
We'll be
If
figuring
it's-
that out anyway.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I just wanna make sure I didn't have any other questions.
And then exercise that we've actually presented to you is just to start throwing it out there, as food for thought, as the items that we knew that were cut to restore them,
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when I was looking at the current expenditure report, there's about $125,000 unencumbered and still remaining in lines 1200-5232 to 1200-5564. So when I looked at these cuts, I said, there's no reason to put this stuff back because we haven't even spent what's in there now. And these were,
Are you talking about in 1,200?
Yeah.
The only problem with that is, yeah, you may not have, but when you're budgeting, and the reason why the budgets are probably different, are you're anticipating someone either coming in or, like for instance, when I met with that group of folks, there were a couple of people that, their needs have changed since we budgeted.
mhm,
That can often happen.
mhm. Yeah, and that's okay, what I'm,
And that is one of the
it's
reasons.
bound to happen in special ed, and it can be expensive when it does, so you don't wanna be so tight. But what I'm saying is, if you just left the number alone that we already have in the budget,
And
okay?
that's what we're suggesting.
No, I'm talking about this year's budget, not next year's budget.
Oh,
Next year's
okay.
budgets have been increased, some of those lines, and now they've been reduced. But if you just look at what you have in those lines this current year, you have an underspend. So
Oh.
my guess is it's got some built-in cushion there already, so maybe you wouldn't have to go 25,000 out of grants
Grant?
even. I don't know, but, I don't really mind if these are, if these types of things can be covered by grant money, I don't know why we wouldn't do that anyway.
And that's kind of
Well,
what we're
we're
thinking.
starting.
We're trying to make sure that we
Yeah.
spend all the grant money.
Right,
Oh,
right,
and leave everything in the budget.
Now, I understand what you're saying, I do, I think. But some of it, I mean, I met very recently with, that department and went over line by line what the needs were gonna be for next year.
Special ed.
Yes. And that is one of the reasons why we chose not to restore all the budget committee cuts, that were recommended. And if they're needed, they would be transferred, I guess I didn't say those words, but if they're needed, they would be transferred to the grant.
mhm.
Okay. That was, okay, what was that?
The ones that are on the sheet of budget committee adjustments, it totals $47,548 of special ed reduction. We didn't ask to restore any of those in the general fund.
Right.
Will you, Kevin, update one of these that shows the numbers? Like, shows which lines are restored?
That's what, well, I can't restore anything without your permission.
No, you
Well,
suggest,
recommendations.
your recommendation.
Sure, we can
That's
put in
what-
a column with the
That's
recommendations.
what, that's what I'd asked for, yeah.
Okay, because what,
You need to be able to see it so you can think about it.
I really do, and the reason is this, first of all, we have such a fund balance, like the auditor just told
For
us,
2 years.
from last year. And then this year, it looks like we're gonna have a fund balance.
I agree with you.
And
Yeah.
so, and we've increased the budget by $500,000. With a fund balance from last year, another fund balance this year, I would like to see us perhaps, and this is just up to the board, when it comes to that, and I need to have the data before I can make a decision. But I would like to put the money that we are able to save from the GMRs that didn't come in the way they were, into a contingency line of the school
We
board.
talked about that.
Okay. See,
I
and
mean,
I'm a
in
doctor.
in my opinion, I mean, you have at least $175,000 that'll go back to the taxpayers, which is the Sanborn line.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talked about sequestering it in some kind of contingency line, setting it aside.
Right, and so I'm thinking that might be good, because then we won't touch that unless there's a real emergency, because
I agree.
this was your, you
Yeah.
guys looked at your budget
Yeah.
and you built your budget, so this is your numbers.
I
And so
couldn't
there's
agree more.
probably not a lot of other things you're gonna need. And yet, if something comes up, the money would be there for certain.
I mean, the
And all
only
you'd have to do
things-
is ask for it. But
Yeah.
if we keep it pulled out and separated, it keeps us honest about, and I don't mean to say
No,
that you guys
no.
aren't, but, and
Well,
so I'm just
we had
using the
this-
word loosely.
we had
It
this
keeps
very
us to really
conversation.
have a very clear picture of what we have to
We
use
had
if
this
we need
exact
to.
conversation.
And then, as far as
yeah.
the the foreign language issue with this whole budget thing is the school board agreed this year that that we weren't gonna go forward with it for a couple of reasons from what I remember. One was there wouldn't be a room for foreign language because we don't have any space. The second thing is we hadn't budgeted any books for it either. So I would like to see, I would like you to talk to your administration. And I would like to see what would it take and how much does it cost? And do you think it's a good idea this year or not? For the last time,
Right.
let's talk about it and see what it looks like on paper. And is it something we wanna be opening ourselves up to right now in the midst of the turn, or do we wanna plan for it for 2016?
Yeah, and again, my question is
One
commitment.
piece of information, you do have Spanish books out in Scott's shed from back when we had previous Spanish teachers. I don't know if you guys are even
We're aware of that. We're
Okay,
aware.
all right.
Yeah, and the other thing, as far as there not being room, like John did tell the curriculum committee that you can schedule a Spanish block. That
Okay.
is,
Well,
if
then,
that is,
well,
that
maybe
is
what we need is,
available.
maybe what we
We need a
really need,
proposal.
yeah,
We
we
need
need
a
to
full
see.
proposal. But I would ask one thing. There are several ways that one can go around with foreign language. Do you want a grade 7 and 8 or a grade 8 5 days a week? Do you want a 7 and 8 that would be 2 years of getting into Spanish too? Or do you want a taste of Spain, part of the Unified Arts schedule, where everybody gets a little bit?
I would like to emulate what
Good, I'm glad
Sanborn
you
is
don't want
doing
that.
in
That's
middle
not
school. I would like to emulate what Sanborn is doing in middle school, because
Okay.
our kids are going to Sanborn.
Okay.
And they should be, I think what I've been hearing is let's get them on a level playing field with the kids they're gonna be in high school with.
So what you're looking.
So I think we should just price it out that way,
Yep.
as that's the program we would wanna
I'll
look
get in
at for our
touch over
kids.
there, I'll take a look at their program, look at their books. It would be
Right.
best to match their books,
Mhm.
Right.
and the schedule that they use.
And then, of
Okay.
course, we rely on you, I mean, we don't know, I don't think any of us know whether it should be 7th and 8th, 6th and 5th, and, you know, but
I can make
I
a
don't wanna,
recommendation.
I don't wanna waste our efforts and resources on something that isn't effective, but if it's gonna help our students and get us ahead, and we can see what it's really, really gonna cost, cause I don't think
Yep.
any of us know, and we've been talking about this for 2.5, 3
Full
years, and
expense.
we still don't know
Okay.
what it means
Yeah.
We will put it
monetarily.
together.
No, we will.
Um,
Yeah, and just two things, if we don't wanna go, if there's we have other options other than hiring a teacher, we can decide that we'll offer limited Spanish classes to a select group of kids, for specific reasons. We already have Rosetta Stones already in the school.
I will not recommend that.
Okay,
I was
and
gonna
we
say,
also have.
parents can have that for their kids anyway,
Yeah.
Andy, we're talking about what the
Okay,
curriculum committee has
but
come up
we-
with as.
Right, and the other thing is we can use, you know, the
People can use
VLAX.
that
I
all
mean,
the time.
yeah, but they can use that, but we can also have a structured time where John said he can schedule a Spanish block. You can't hire a Spanish teacher, kids can go in the Spanish block and then on the computer and they can
You
do the
still have to hire
VLAX.
someone to oversee them. There
They-
has to be an adult in the room. So you're still looking at
All
an
right.
expense.
Right, right, but we're not looking at a teacher hiring a teacher.
No, you would hire a parent.
Yeah, you hire a parent, so at a lower expense.
Yeah.
I
So,
like Ida's idea of, let's
Level
like
playing
say,
field.
look what they have, let's
Yep.
start
Right.
there.
I think that makes sense.
right, and I can get you the notes from the first curriculum committee meeting this year
Sure.
because they presented exactly what their program was.
Oh,
That's the one I missed.
Yeah,
my mother
that's, they
said.
presented what their
Yeah.
program, we had their curriculum person come over, they presented what
That would
the
be
Spanish
great.
program was
I actually, I
and
thought
what
we
they
had
did,
those, I'll have to look them up.
what books they used,
Yep.
how they
Yeah.
approach, they had like a world history thing that they
No,
start early.
It would
and-
make sense to
yeah.
have an identical program.
But
Yeah.
I can do that, but I
Yeah.
mean, the intent of our recommendation is what you tell you the things that we felt needed to be restored, whether they were contractual or not.
Right,
But I agree with the intent of, like, say, the Sanborn line or whatnot was to be spent on tuition. And if there's $175,000 in savings there, it probably belongs to go back.
To the
Unless,
town,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, the only
And-
thing would be kids came in.
Because I
and the
remember.
10%, well,
Right.
and that's why it would be in that
That's exactly
contingency
in the
line, you know,
bucket.
because
Yeah.
we don't wanna,
Put it in the bucket.
we have to be able to use it when we need to. And the 10% anticipated cost increase, what is that?
For
Like,
which one?
all of
That's
them?
special ed, oh no, those, the supplies,
Yeah,
that's.
At 1,100?
yeah,
They were just what they thought.
When
the
you
supplies
budget,
would increase.
you're looking at catalogs from this last year.
Mhm.
So it's always recommended to put in an increase for both cost and shipping. We were told when I was a teacher, 15%. They've done 10.
Yeah, there's 15% handling, shipping and handling usually.
Yeah, so that's what those funds are. So that the budget committee took all of that out, which means if there are increases, people will have to buy less than what they intended to.
Mm.
So we felt that it would be better to put it in, there will probably be some left over. That can be moved or sequestered or whatever after that.
Right, or we could just spend what we need and take it out of the contingency if we need to.
That's true.
Do you know what I
we
mean?
can do that.
Instead of restoring.
Yes,
That's
Because-
a possibility.
because
Just
You-
requires transfers,
even-
that's all.
Even
Just make sure people know
supplies.
they just need to ask.
We've been pretty clear
Oh,
on
we've
that.
got, yeah, and I've got a lot of requests,
They've got to ask, they have to put a purchase order in, do all
We've
that
been
stuff.
very
Just so
clear on
people
that.
know the money there. I mean, I have the contingency fund, let people know it's there, just ask us.
Yeah, and there's still money remaining in all of those lines as well this year.
in
And it's April.
1,100.
Yeah.
I
And
thought
supplies and
we
in
were
the-
transferring to cover.
I
test
think I
materials,
transferred a
tests
lot
and
of,
transfers.
I did a lot of transfers.
Less than $2,000, so they've been small.
Yeah, wait a minute,
transfers.
which, because I did a lot of transfers that were under the $2,000, because I
Yeah,
had.
you did a transfer for 1554, but then
Right.
we don't have,
The
amount remaining
encumbrance-
is 1,241,
Right,
so.
the encumbrances probably didn't go through
Oh,
yet.
okay,
There's a
Okay.
lot of matchup, it was,
okay, because we've spent a lot in those lines.
Right,
anything, those lines will not have
Yeah.
much of a variance left in them, because I transferred funds to cover the expenses that came through
Mhm.
that last week of March for the teachers.
Okay,
they should be pretty.
It just didn't catch up with
Right.
the, because we had to have it ready so early so you could get it on Friday, and Yvonne didn't have time to do both.
yeah,
So are we talking about this year's budget too, as well as next year's budget?
yeah, well, I look at where
Right.
we've spent money and where
Right.
we haven't. and
Right.
see
So
if we
we'll
really
get you all
need
that
to.
information for the next meeting,
That'd be great.
and there's no rush on that side.
Right. Okay. Does anybody else have anything for fiscal year 15 budget?
More to come.
Okay. Action items, I think we can skip it. Oh, no, oh jeez. Okay, administrative reports, or wait, 13DE. Is anybody still here waiting to talk about that? Discussion on suing the federal government for non-payment
okay.
of special education requirements.
So here's my thing.
Page 90s.
96?
No, like 100, I think.
I would like to.
Yeah, my goal of that is, before the school board can't discuss to do it, I would like to look to see if there was a pro bono option, for that,
Okay,
because I think it makes, it makes absolutely no sense for us to spend, we couldn't afford it. I mean, there's no way. I mean, you're talking $100,000, $200,000 or more. Yeah, to go, if you're taking the Supreme Court, so that's out of the question. But my thinking was that if we found pro bono money, a pro bono option, and there have been a number of them, especially regarding these issues.
Enjoy another please.
Yeah, whether you join other suits, the other option would be to, since I'm, when it comes to the New Hampshire School Board Association meeting, that we could, one of our proposals would be to ask the resolution be for a class action suit from schools in New Hampshire, so we wouldn't take it on all on our own. So which page are we on right now?
I think we need to do pro bono.
Okay, yeah, no, we need to do pro bono, I mean, it makes no sense, it makes no sense whatsoever for us to spend our own money, I mean,
So Betsy had some ideas to share too of what some school districts.
Well, I have
Yeah.
to share this with you. I mentioned this to Mike Morgan, who,
Right.
was superintendent over next year. We were sitting and having breakfast together at the Southeasters meeting, and I mentioned that we were going to be talking about this. And he said, well, when he was superintendent in Barrington, he sent bills to Margaret Spellings, the Federal Commissioner of Education.
Right.
And billed her for several years. And he has a cover letter here, came from the board. And he didn't hear anything, but he sent them a copy to them and a copy to the local papers for several years. No response, didn't get the money, and he moved on. But I just want you to know that there are other people
Oh,
who
yeah.
feel the same way.
It's been
And,
issued in states all across the country.
Yeah, and so, I think that the class action is, or the school board's resolution to join a class action with other states is probably the way to get the ground moving on it.
Right.
So, that's something that maybe when the School Boards Association comes up in the summer to do the
Right.
things, it's a conversation that could bring forward.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be the
You're
place to
going
bring
to
it.
that too.
Yes, I am going to that.
Hey, would you like it?
Yes, I would like that. I mean, he's not the only person who's done this.
No, he's not.
There's a number of other
Yep.
school, systems have
Better
actually done the
places to
same
spend our
thing.
energy than,
I'm not spending any
We're not
energy,
spending
are you?
any
Andy's spending the energy.
That's any energy. And,
but as a school board, I mean, then why don't, can you do it as a citizen? Does that have to be the school
you could
board?
do, yeah, because we're the
The school board
hard
isn't
party.
doing anything right now. All Andy said he was gonna do is check to see if there's pro bono.
Right,
And
Right.
then he was gonna check into
Right.
also if there was any resolutions that could be
Right.
written, which he'd have to bring to the board and the board would have to vote yes or no
Right,
on them.
right.
So
right.
I don't, I
I
don't
mean,
see it as a board.
right, and the other thing you ever gotta take a look at it is that, we're trying to educate our kids, and the federal government is requiring us to provide education, special education kids, and they're not paying for it. They're simply not paying for it. And, I mean, that'd be like them telling the federal government saying, well, you gotta, put 50 kids on a bus, and we'll give you, $10 a kid. So we put 50 kids on the bus, and they give us $200. I mean,
There's
it,
better things doing it.
well, I really don't think so. I think holding the federal government accountable for the laws that it passes, I think as a citizen of the United States, I don't think there's anything more important that we could do. Because how many other laws are they gonna pass, dumping, regulations on schools, making it more difficult to educate our kids, and not funding them? And I think this would send a clear message to them that it's gonna end. It's over.
We need a picture of the child.
Yeah, so, all right.
Okay.
There's the other Sue too, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one is, once again, pro bono.
Okay, good.
But I think the reason why I've been researching this, and I need to do more research on it to find a more greater legal basis for it, but the reason why we are an aggrieved party and why we can move forward with the suit, because what this is about, that President Obama arbitrarily changed the law
I got it.
illegally, saying that businesses no longer had to provide health insurance. But we, being a school, couldn't wait for him to make the decision. We had to budget for it months and months in
It's
advance.
not completely true.
What?
It's not completely true.
How's that?
Because, like, for instance, I didn't do that in my other school district
Right.
because I sat patiently, watched it. I knew the only, let's say thing I had to avoid
Right.
was the penalty.
Right,
So all I had to do was offer health insurance to my employees.
right.
I didn't have to pay for a nickel of it.
But we had an agreement, see, with the paras, that we would reopen, if the healthcare law passed, it was in the contract that we would reopen negotiations with them around health insurance. That's the difference.
Even
Yeah.
so, you
So
only
we
had
were-
to offer it, you didn't have to
Yeah,
pay
you didn't have
for
to
it.
pay for it.
You only had to offer it.
But we had to offer it, we had to write a contract that offered health insurance.
Offered.
Offered. but
You didn't have to pay any of the
But we had
premium.
we had the budget, we had
You
the
didn't-
we had the budget for the warrant article.
Not if you didn't pay anything towards their premium.
You just had to allow them to sign up for it and pay for it completely on their own, that was the way that the law worked.
All right,
Yeah.
well, that's the case. And we may not have the,
You don't need to sue, sorry.
Because you didn't have to.
You didn't.
You only had to offer it at that point in time.
right. Okay, I mean, I still would like to research a little bit more,
Go
because
right
I think
ahead.
because we, I am certainly looking for an opportunity to reverse Obama's arbitrary decisions on healthcare law. I think it's offensive.
But it was never solidified, just so you know. I mean,
Right.
it's still, right now, just solidifying pieces and they're shifting, even the penalty, like the penalty used to be the number of employees you had minus 30. For 1 year, they're letting it be
Which is illegal.
minus 70
Which is illegal,
employees.
which is illegal.
They do keep changing the
No, they don't.
the
He
deadline.
does.
But
He
at
keeps
that
changing
time,
it. It's
at
not
that
No,
They-
I'm saying you're looking into it now. I'm
Right.
just
Well,
saying
he can
none of it
look
was
into it.
ever
I'll,
solidified.
I'll look into it, because we did budget the money, thinking
Right.
that
Yeah.
the healthcare law.
I can
we
give
were-
you some
we-
information that I got at Health Trust last week.
All right.
It's gone all through this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Alright.
Maybe a phone conversation. with
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
would
sure,
help
yeah,
to-
'cause we have to be an aggrieved party if we're gonna sue.
All right,
Alright.
all right, so we'll just go straight down information items, I think. If we bounce back to page 14 of our packet. And I think I'm gonna run through these relatively quickly, you guys. Everybody probably read them. I did have a question, Betsy, about the STEM program. And you had mentioned that we'd have to add a teacher and that it would be a unified arts teacher. And I was surprised at that. I thought that our science teacher, see, I guess I don't know enough about STEM. So I was thinking,
It depends, it depends. The way that a STEM program at the middle level is a series of modules that have to be taught. Typically, as in the case of YG Junior High, they have a person in the unified arts program who teaches the STEM modules as part of the rotation. You can have a science teacher teach it, but what are they giving up? Unless they are able to incorporate their other standards into that curriculum, which they might be able to, they have to rewrite their curriculum to do it. You can do it that way. You do have to pay for training, and you have to pay the fees to be members. But it depends on how you want to do it. I should have explained that better.
well, and the other thing was that the elementary school could actually use the teachers they have and just pay them a stipend.
Right. Well,
And
actually, they have to be trained.
Oh, okay.
And then they
Okay.
would have to do the same thing, they would have to find ways in their curriculums, they have to give up something to incorporate this instead.
Okay, and then it said we would also need, to pay for the required technology, infrastructure, and software to host such a program. So I guess in order for us to make a decision, we'd have to know what that.
That's right, so I'd have to look into it more precisely. I can, I have the contact information, and I'm referring in there particularly to the computers
Okay.
that the upper levels would use, because they use engineering software that has to be on
Okay.
the latest computers.
Mhm.
Our virtual machines broken in the back, I think,
Do what?
the VM stuff we have.
They might be, yeah, we might be okay, but I just would have to look.
Right, it would have to be checked. And then, does STEM need a science lab? Is that,
It certainly would be helpful to have the space appropriate, to have the water and all of
Mhm,
that. You know, I'd have to look at the individual modules.
okay,
I wouldn't say that it has to, because you choose the modules you wanna teach and you could stay away from stuff that, requires it, but certainly to have the diversity of choice.
this is how dumb I am. I thought the science lab was going to make us the STEM place.
Oh, no, actually, we just need a science lab to do what we're supposed to do.
Seriously, I mean, isn't that stupid? But that's what I thought, and when I was reading all this, I'm like, oh, wait
It's
a
a
minute, I
curriculum.
guess I'm way off that with that.
It's a curriculum that
Okay.
you put into your building.
Okay,
Yeah. I learned that at this thing I went to.
okay.
I mean, but do you adjust your current curriculum, or do you add it on top of what you already have?
What you have to do is teach the modules that they want you to teach. So what you have to do is look in your regular curriculum, remove things that are duplicated from the
Right.
regular curriculum, and teach the STEM curriculum.
Right.
So that unless you hire a STEM teacher and have them as a different rotation. So that would be how it would have to be handled.
Okay. Right. And then. Have you guys talked about who's gonna actually keep the website up to date once the new website's launched? Are we gonna have like different people doing different modules?
The part of the conversation of the committee is to come up with basically a user's guide at the end, which assigns pages to different people. There aren't going to be that many people. Teachers will of course have access to their own pages, but in terms of the main page, it's not going to be as many people now have access. It will be a few. And yes, we had decided that. And then on the outside, for any major building, we can always hire Iris to add a page or whatnot. But yes, that's a part of the process.
Okay. And then you had mentioned here in your report too about doing the newsletter that looks less expensive.
We'll bring that up.
But I would like to do a newsletter that is less expensive. Okay.
That is the objective.
Right.
The objective is to look less and be less.
Why not look good, look as good, but be less?
The problem is
They
that
look
it's
too good.
actually more expensive to print on newsprint than it is to just run it up through a printer now. And so you get this beautiful glossy item,
Right.
I know, but
it's less expensive.
Yeah, but can't you just do it on like white paper, like our Fremont
Just do it
newsletter
like
is
this.
on?
Yes, we could.
Do it like this on regular paper.
But even if
Fremont
it-
newsletter,
but
like,
even if it's the
the
same-
town newsletter is very nicely done.
Right.
We can do that.
And it's not full color and it's not, you know what I mean? But-
Yeah, let me tell you that when I went to Selectmen, every one of them mentioned
Okay.
that.
That
And
we use glossy paper.
they use glass, and
Really?
every one of them said that one thing everybody commented to them was the newsletter with the glossy paper.
Okay, no
That was-
glossy paper.
It was, I mean,
So even
it
if
was,
it's,
Nothing nice out of this.
so we're saying that we want, even if it's the same price, we want it to look worse.
No,
no.
No, we want both. We want both.
first of all, it wouldn't be the same price.
Right.
Glossy, full color is more expensive than what
Right.
the Fremont
Right.
Town newsletter is, hands down.
She got a really good price.
So don't,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
but-
I
I understand that, but the directive of
Just
look
put-
less expensive and less expensive, I mean,
Just put on something like this.
why have a
How do
girl
you
look
guys
less
feel?
expensive?
The problem is pictures.
Yeah.
They're just,
That it was too nice.
think we're wasting money.
The
Yeah.
problem is, you want people to see pictures, because pictures speak louder than print. And so, you want them to have a decent picture, and that's why glossy works. But if you don't want glossy, we'll just step down and it won't look as good as it did.
Then it
That's
won't.
fine, I have no
Mhm.
problem, that I understand completely.
Yeah.
We will make it happen, we will make it cheaper.
Black and white.
And so then, as far as John's report goes, I really, wanna thank him for explaining the risk corridor like he did, because it
Yes.
made a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot easier to understand than what we had gotten before.
Now, the only question I had is about the math. It,
Yeah.
it
John's
seems,
report.
it seems we always have, for years, that we struggle with the math. And, you know,
Everybody does, it's.
well, I'm wondering, do we need to look at another math curriculum?
Whoa, we just went up 6 points in math.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
Yeah.
give it some time.
All right.
Give it some time. It's moving in the right direction. If it stops or starts moving in the other direction, I'll get worried.
All
In
right.
the meantime, it's really good work. People are doing a great job. The one thing you have to remember is the math is the hardest to turn around because we are, in America, our job in elementary school has always been teaching reading.
Yes.
And our teachers are trained that way, and they're learning new ways, and they're doing a bang-up job. I mean,
Mhm.
just look at the progress that's been made.
Mhm.
There's the, you know, at this point, as long as the arrow is moving up, we're gonna
Right.
stay on this trajectory.
Right.
If it changes, we'll take a look.
Mhm.
I didn't have a small reaction to that, did I?
Well, it's cost money to change curriculum.
So,
It's expensive to change curriculum, I mean,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
very expensive, you you buy the books, you gotta train all your teachers. on it, so
Absolutely,
it's
and
not-
kids
it's
have to
not-
be adjust to it, no, they're doing a
Right.
great job, let them do it.
All right,
I have to go back to this mailing thing. Are we saying as a board that even if we can get the same price for the mailing, we want something less? I mean, it's tough to say we want something that looks.
No, Greg, we're not saying that, but it's, come on, do you know of a, never mind, go out and price it. A glossy,
Well,
full
no.
color,
Uh,
no matter what, is gonna cost you more than a black
Okay.
and white.
Let me.
But the statement here says looks less expensive.
That's why I said, I don't want it to look less expensive, I want it to be
Be
less
less
So
expensive.
that should be the goal. The goal should be look less
Right.
expensive.
Right, that's
I,
right.
what, can I make a suggestion? Why don't I bring a couple of prototypes
Yes.
to
All
the
right.
board in the fall, before it gets sent out, you can pick what you want, I'll
Right.
give you the prices, and we'll be out.
All right.
Does that sound good?
Yep.
Price is right, you have to guess.
I think we should do it in scrolls. Hear ye,
That's
it's
how-
down
I
on
think
the
my
corner.
thing
You
is
want
to
a town
take it off the
crier?
glossy,
Yeah,
and
town
you put it
crier.
on the paper similar to what the town does, then there'll be less people that, I mean, many people said comments to me too.
I
You
have
know,
no
so,
problem with that.
so if we just do that, I don't
Yep.
think there's a lot you can, you know, it's paper and it's ink, and it's a newsletter, I think it's what you write in there is what's most important.
Content.
The content
The
of it,
content.
what you're sending out.
Other than the concern about the look of it. What was the feedback that you got on the contents? Did people like getting it? Did they like what they saw in
I
it?
think
Was
it's
it
been pretty
helpful?
positive, from what I've heard.
I had a number of positive comments. We did get 2 phone calls at the SAU about how much did this cost. And we scrambled around to try and figure out the cost per page, which was something like 70 cents, I think. Somewhere around there. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that much.
Voters mentioned it.
Yeah.
at
And that,
polls.
that is
One lady in
important.
particular was like, I have a question for you, cause I said, got questions, we've got answers.
And then,
That
that's
was that.
fine.
I
I
mean,
have no problem with
I
it.
mean, I think that the thinking is this, is
I'll consider
that,
it the big mistake I've made so far.
I mean, well, I mean, it wasn't just you, cause we approved
Just
it.
let it go.
You know, so, we just gotta think that people feel under stress, in that, you know, that people, you know, their jobs and everything else like that, you know, and
Of course.
there's a lot of people very suspicious about government and what we're doing, and there's a lot of arrogance and stuff like that, so, you know, I think it's a matter of just understanding and being a little
At the
humble.
bottom of it, put how much it costs per
That's
page.
what I thought.
There you go.
No,
I'm gonna put, no, don't.
I mean, that's not what people are looking for.
$500,000
I mean, we
increase
just,
to our budget was the newsletter, I'm just.
so.
Okay, so
Thank you.
let's, I think Betsy's got it, guys.
I'm so happy.
Alright.
Okay, the title, it was very nice to see the Title I letter come through.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. She wasn't sure which day she was there in March, so she put 2 question marks, but,
And, my question.
other than that, and then I guess we must have bought the smart board.
Right, now my question
And
is,
we've taken care of
Yeah,
that.
right, there's something in the report about needing a room for Title I.
There is, one of the requirements is that it has its own space.
Right.
And with the reduction of classes, we will have a space next year.
Right, that's exactly what I was saying. So that won't be an issue.
Okay, and then I thought John Bridle's report was awesome,
Isn't it?
really good.
Okay,
It
I
was
just want
nice to
to,
see how much he got out of that conference.
right, I just want to look at page 22,
Okay.
because, let's see, page 22, which was the.
It was John Bridle's report.
Okay. I gotta get there.
Yeah, and I've asked the administration whenever they go on
Right.
conference now to put in a
Right.
special report.
He did mention the new, did he mention new Common Core standards for science?
Next generation science standards is the second
Next
bullet down.
generation science, standards, yes,
Mhm.
next generation science standards. I have some concerns about that, and actually, there's been concerns expressed throughout the country regarding these second generation science standards, because the second generation science standards state unequivocally that man-made global warming is a fact, and that has to be taught to the kids.
I haven't seen, I'll have to take
Right.
a look and see if
So,
that's in
and
there.
that has been a major contention of these science standards, and to be honest with you, I will not, if that is part of the standard, I will never support implementing them in the school.
The board can choose to eliminate any particular standard it chooses to.
Right.
From the curriculum, so consider the rest of it.
Right.
And then
Oh, yeah.
eliminate what you want,
Right,
you know.
but unless it's mandated by the state that we teach it, then we have an issue. Then I will have an issue, because I will not let that be taught to our kids, because it is not a fact. Meaning global warming. And we're not gonna be teaching propaganda to our kids.
Okay, so then, Sarah's report, did anybody have any questions on this? She mentions that there's, 103 identified students. Is that high school? Do you know if that's high school and Ellis?
No, it has to be high school and Ellis, because high school is only about 50 kids.
Alice was like 60
Well, we should be able to look
High
at
school
our
is about
enrollment,
20.
our enrollment has it, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's
The
20,
enrollment
yeah, there's
section.
20% of the kids in high school are special ed, it's around
I
50
think
kids.
that's,
Yeah, you're right.
I think
Yeah,
The
they-
enrollment report.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's both, that's everybody.
right, that's
it's all in
everybody.
the enrollment report.
Right.
Okay. And then the technology report was fine.
Actually, I
It was
think,
good, and then she gave us
Well,
all
actually,
this,
I have- excuse me,
and,
I'd like-
I'm gonna use this at the tech meeting, the tech committee meeting,
Right.
this report, I think it's
Yeah.
great to have it,
Right.
but I wanted to have it sorted a couple
I just want to repeat that 103 students, I think that it does not include, that is just Ellis School, it does not include the high school students.
100?
We can,
It's about 20% of the population, yes,
um,
which is pretty standard.
That's a high number for our schools.
It's
No.
25% if it's 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's on those.
I
Because
think
last
it
time I
is.
thought it was under 90 of those. But,
Yeah.
But
do
she
you
said it
want
was
this
60%.
in every?
No.
Okay.
No.
So twice a year or something? or-
Yeah, and really, I was gonna do something with the tech committee on it,
Okay.
because I think what's really helpful is,
I'm gonna look on the enrollment page.
it's helpful for us to know how many computers we have in the building, how many
Absolutely.
iPads,
Right.
how many printers, that kind of thing. But that way, it just showed us that there are some older stuff. She has a replacement.
Yeah, we've
schedule
got the
anyway,
XP, we have to get rid of all the XPs.
Now, we're gonna
Yeah.
barcode this stuff so we can keep track
I
of
think
it.
it is barcode.
That's what this is. We bought that software to do that.
It's all barcoded, everything is inventory, she's,
Yeah.
Yes, thank her, that was excellent, that was a lot of work.
actually, it was just a complete
It's,
printout.
it's a
But she
printout.
had to put it in there.
Yeah,
Well,
every
I
time
yeah,
someone,
I
right?
think Jason Carey put it in a
Oh,
long
okay.
time ago, and now when they buy things, it automatically gets an ID.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
so
put a
she-
barcode on it.
So
they-
then you can say thank you for hitting the button to print
I
it
will,
out.
I
I
will.
really appreciate it.
Mhm.
And Scott's report, everybody's okay with that?
Yeah, well, yeah, I do,
Facility director
I,
report?
yeah, I mean, when it comes to upcoming, agenda items, I wanna keep to that.
Scott's report? We're at it right now.
Well, not just Scott's report, Scott's report's fine, I wanna talk about the maintenance of the school.
That's not on the agenda.
No, that's why that'd be the
So-
upcoming,
Oh, okay,
that's the
okay.
upcoming agenda.
Anything in particular?
Well, I just was in the boys' room a little while ago, and we got a toilet that's running, which costs the school money, because you have you have the water pump running
Absolutely.
24 hours a day. We have another toilet that doesn't work. We have one of the sink that doesn't have a faucet on it.
Can you give me a list?
Well, what I would like to do is next school board meeting is take a walk through, the school board should take a walk through the school
Yeah.
and look at everything and then list everything that we see.
Would you like
Great
John, would you like Scott to be?
If he wants to go with us,
I
yes.
think he would be.
I
want- no,
don't
maybe
think that's
not.
our job,
What?
to walk through the school and tell
Well,
them what's wrong with
no,
it.
but
I
I
think we could ask Scott what he has on his repair list and what he's repairing
All
and
right,
how long it's gonna take to get it done.
all right.
And if there's a work order, I don't know, does staff have work orders where they can fill out a work order if they notice something broken?
I don't know if that's how they handle it.
No,
Right.
no. Oh,
Yeah.
We emailed Scott.
oh, you just let them know? You just, drop them a note?
All right. Okay, because it's not the first time, there's other issues I see in the school. I mean, for weeks, there's a bathroom there's a handicap sink without a light over it, and the top cover for the light was filthy. It had dust you could wipe off with your finger, and it was
There's-
that week after
there's
week
work
after
going on.
week, it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just have some real concerns that the school is not being maintained properly.
Mhm. We've
It's not
been
being
having some conversations about that,
Right.
and we're working on,
All right,
a couple of things.
all right.
And we may be coming to the board with some.
Okay, I'd like to put that on the agenda for next school board meeting. I don't want to discuss it now because it's not on the agenda.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we'll do.
All
I
right.
already wrote it down.
All
Um,
right.
but anything on the facilities director's report, everybody?
Nope.
Okay, financial administrator's report, I think we've kind of,
Well, the only question I had on page 47, I was wondering, now, there's no activity in REAP at all?
No, not yet. The wireless will be the first expense that we put through for the REAP.
All right. And you anticipating, is that money we can carry over into the next fiscal year, or do we have to spend it all?
I'm not sure. I've always spent it in the year that it's been in.
Alright.
I can look into that.
Now, how much time do we have in that one?
42,000 and some change.
All right.
And that's gonna be 27-ish, so it
Alright.
should be about 25-ish.
What are other things we can spend it on?
Yeah.
We might be able to buy ahead, the 20,000 computers for next year.
Maybe.
We don't have.
That's
I
a
think
suggestion.
That would be good.
Yeah, we could do that.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was part of tech plan, that we
Yeah.
need to keep current.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So we'll get on that.
Yeah, let's stay on top of that, cause we wanna spend the money.
Absolutely.
What's the REAP for again?
Rural education, something program, rural education, rural education.
Something for.
It has something to, yeah, it's.
Starts with an A.
It's a program that was set up to
In need
assist.
of improvement, isn't it?
No,
Rural-
no.
Rural area.
Maybe it is rural.
Rural education area of,
Education
Area
area.
for improvement,
There you go,
something like
yeah.
that, I
It's
don't know.
program, it's program.
Yeah, program.
But it's grant money that's given in a block grant to the state to distribute to the towns based upon their distance from city areas. So it goes to rural school districts, and it's a pretty loose grant in many ways, but
Yeah.
primarily you'll spend it on things like
Rural
internet.
Educational Achievement.
Achievement,
Okay.
thank
now,
you.
can we use it for,
You can use it
Do
on
a science
anything
lab?
generally that you can use on Title I, Title II,
D.
D funds.
Yeah.
And I think that might be.
can we use it for a science lab?
You know, that's a good question.
That is a good.
I'm not sure
question.
infrastructure would be allowed, but we can certainly
But
check it out.
but maybe equipment.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, cause that would have to be
That,
next
it would,
year.
equipment
Right.
would be, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a possibility. Let's check
A
it out.
lot of school districts use it for teaching or, you know, personnel.
Well, that's,
Isn't it good?
I didn't.
Yeah,
so now that we could use it for a language teacher. For next year.
I could definitely look into it.
Yeah, if we
And-
can
and
spend
that-
ahead on this year's grant, then we have all of it for next year.
Yeah, language teacher, and we could,
We'll check it out.
all right,
Oh,
and books and supplies and
We'll
that sort
check
of
it out.
stuff.
What do you do if you don't get it though?
That's a good point.
That's always the question.
That's
And I know
probably-
districts that have lost it recently because the fund levels are going down. Brookline used to have it, it lost it 2 years ago. And they had about 45, about the same, they lost
Yeah.
it all in 1 year.
Well, if it's for a contract, then you put that in the
Right.
person's contract,
Right.
contingent upon blah, blah, blah fund.
Right. No, I did, I mean, the only other thing I have is on page 48.
48?
I gotta find it. Page 18. No, the only other thing is the insurance.
I think you can just type the
Oh,
page you
yeah,
want, right?
well, it won't come, it won't be
It
the
won't?
same.
53.
53, yeah, it won't be the same page, but you're right, I can come type that and get close. Okay,
That's page 48
Right.
right there.
Yeah.
right, that's page 53.
Oh, that's right.
So, I mean, the only thought I had with the savings we had in the health insurance, of course,
I told you it was 36,000.
Yeah. right, which is, we may not need to do this, but, and the chances of us being successful in doing it is probably, but the only people who are required to provide this plan to are the teachers, because it's in their contract. We can technically,
It's in everyone else's contract too.
no,
It's in my contract.
it is?
Which one are we talking
Is
about?
it
Yeah,
mentioned,
the-
is insurance?
health
All the
insurance is
administrative
mentioned.
ones have been named.
Oh, okay, so the
Yeah.
paras are the only one don't have the name
That's
health
right.
insurance, okay. I mean, we probably
Oh,
could
the
not.
name, what are you trying to get?
What I'm saying is this, is that the teacher's contract says we have to offer them this
Yes.
insurance.
Yeah,
But everyone else, we just have to offer them insurance. So the chances of us being able to split our insurance policy at the same savings are pretty slim.
That's right.
But it's always something, if we wanted to, we could look into, saying, would it be cheaper to offer, looking for other health insurance plans for everybody else?
only thing I'll tell you about that is you get group rates based on the
Right.
size of your group.
Right.
So if you have a group of, there's only about
50
7
teachers.
non-CBA type
Right.
people. Well, if
Right.
you include parents in that, but,
Right,
you know, and as I told you previously, the difference between school care and.
it was so small, right.
was $200.
If it was like 20%, it might be worth
After
looking
the,
into.
because the GMR didn't come through, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Right, and I was thinking if it wasn't just, the
At
savings,
this
were-
point, yeah.
if it came in 15% more, it might be worth looking at, but because it's so close, we couldn't find a plan that would save us money anyway. And the group rate would go up for the teachers, because there's only the teachers
That's
in
right.
those schools. So it would be no savings.
We are gonna offer though that,
Yeah.
Matthew Thornton plan that we offer the teachers to anybody that wants it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's cheaper,
Right,
and if you're young and healthy, it may be the plan for you,
right.
because your premium will be
Right,
cheaper each
right,
month,
right.
and,
Likely,
Yeah.
the reason is
And I wanna bring up once again, I bring it up every year, health savings account. The parish requested it in the negotiation as a cheap alternative for them.
SRAs.
Yes,
Yeah.
they requested it, they brought it up, I didn't bring it up.
We
They-
can look at them.
And I think we could.
We're gonna be moving into negotiations again very quickly, so
Right.
we'll.
Right, but the thing is, but the reality is we can offer the parish a health aid and HSA now, because there's nothing in the contract says we can't. So we could offer to everybody, along with the Matthew Thornton, we can say, because, our current insurance carrier does offer an HSA.
They do.
So we could say, why don't you just put that in the package? The only problem we've always had with the HSA is how much, we never decided how much a school board of
Would
it
contribute.
would contribute. And some school boards will contribute the deductible for the first year.
It's true, they do, and
Yeah.
then, this was actually all discussed at that conference that I
Right.
had to rush to last
Right.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Another thing that we'll have to look at some point is kind of a benefits committee, because
Right.
coming down
Good
the
idea.
pike is this Cadillac tax
Right.
that's gonna be imposed on all health plans over a certain dollar amount. Let's just say, I think right now,
Unless it's
the
election year,
threshold
or
is
it's like Brexit.
27,500 for a family
Right.
plan. Anything in excess of that, say your plan was 30,500,
Mhm.
that's $3,000 in excess. Someone, they're not sure yet who, is gonna be imposed an excise tax of 40%. But you can bet that if it's health trust, they're gonna pass it on to us, and
Right.
we as Fremont School District will have to pass it on to the employee. Everyone's gonna suffer.
Right.
So they're actually looking at having your school districts and other municipalities analyze the benefits and come up with alternatives where we can maybe escape that tax.
Mhm.
That, I think it's 2018.
Yeah.
Right now, Obamacare is looking to raise about $80 million from that.
Right, except they
Cadillac
granted
tax.
waivers to, most of the unions. Union-sponsored healthcare plans aren't covered by it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, we're definitely off track.
Oh, yeah.
But it was
And
health
it's getting
insurance.
late, so
Right,
let's
alright.
not do that anymore. Please. Did you ever find the copier, lease that you were looking for?
I did.
You did, okay, cause I did too, so I didn't
Okay,
know.
and it was under a different name, which is why I didn't find it the first time.
Well, there's that information that might be helpful to you.
Okay, thank you. No, I didn't have this.
Oh, yeah, have fun reading that at some other point. Okay, so enrollment report is in here, which I finally found.
Yes,
That-
it's
I
in
did
there.
actually look back on kindergarten projections and everything too.
Right. I mean, it's kind of alarming when you're down to 417 kids.
Why is it alarming?
Well, it's not alarming, it's just a dramatic drop. I mean, we keep going.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere, we keep going down, or we're down 4 kids from the beginning of the year.
We're down 6 kids.
6 kids, yeah, so it's, I mean, the trend is,
People are leaving.
well, people also have less kids.
That is,
You're not getting those 5 and 6.
Yeah, but they had the 6 that we lost.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I was working in Worcester. When I was working in Worcester, there was, in one program I lived in, there was 4 families with over 20 kids.
20?
Yeah.
Okay,
All
we
right,
need
we're-
to get back to
yeah.
work here.
Come
I
on,
love
come
that.
on,
I'm
come
gonna
on,
be
come
here
on.
all night.
I know, you need to control yourself.
That's interesting though.
Yeah,
Or
right.
I'm gonna have to do it for you.
Well, I did speak-
Resignation of occupational therapist, sadly.
I just wanna make a note of change on that. She resubmitted her letter, and her last day at Alice will be Thursday, May 1st,
Yeah.
rather than Wednesday, April 30th. So we just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, I think I skipped something here,
The budget
from-
transfers maybe.
did I?
We haven't gotten there yet.
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
well,
annual
okay.
report,
We
then
haven't
early
had the
release
budget yet.
professional days, that just was,
That was information,
yeah,
part of the, goal of high quality professional.
yeah.
So we
And,
wanted to see.
and some of the stuff
Right.
doesn't pertain to student learning though, right?
Not everything can, sometimes it has to be other items, but in general, it's going to,
Okay.
every time we do things.
So we're jumping to, sorry, resignation of Guy.
Right, so we need a motion.
Yeah, to accept with regret, I entertain a motion to accept with regret the resignation of Guy Hartman, and I wish her well.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
She'll be missed.
Yes.
She is, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Manifest.
So, let's move.
You're up.
I'm up, okay. Manifest 14-22 dated 3/14/14. This was a big one, $1,038,671.63. It was Sanborn tuition, majority the $965,876. Primex was in there and some busing, so that's made up that one. Manifest 14-23 dated 3/28/14. Total $154,395.76. Let's see, healthcare, 67,000, busing, 41,600, and cafe services, a little over 16,000. And one last one is, it was just 14-24. It was dated 3/28 for, rent. They had to cut a separate one for that, and that was 1,754. So, I move to accept the presented manifest. Do I have to go through, do I say each one again, or?
Nope.
Okay.
As presented.
As presented?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Budget transfers?
budget transfers, yeah. I am okay with them. I don't know if anybody else had any questions for Sue about those.
Nope, I know it's done.
Just one quick question, subs general, that seems to be a line item that we seem to be under budgeting every year.
That's why I'm saying too, like,
Yeah.
I thought my suggestion of trying to track them between long-term,
Mhm.
regular,
Right.
in each of the functions is the best
We
way.
can help
Right.
with some
Because-
information.
Right, and that's another reason why we should add more money to that budget line, because we're always, every single year, we're under budgeting that one.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do our best to guesstimate it, but it's easier to do it when you know, when you
Right.
can try to plan for some of the long-term absences,
Mhm.
so.
And, is there data that tracks, like, how's our attendance and that kind of thing?
Yes, we have the ESOP program, we can run
Right.
attendance.
And
on
then we
groups,
have
individuals,
comps to
whatever.
different schools, like with the averages and.
We, I don't know if we have that kind of data, but we can certainly call other business
Yeah.
people and ask them. I have looked at the ESOP data to look for any patterns, and I haven't seen any. I mean, often schools you'll have you bring up the bar of the days, and you'll have this nice Monday, Friday thing, where everybody takes Monday and everybody takes Friday, and so you have this sort of dip.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't like that here.
Mm.
You know, people are very responsible. They are sick whenever they're sick. There's no trend on a Monday or a Friday, so. Actually, I was very impressed with that,
That was
because
good.
every other district has been that way.
That is.
Well, probably the biggest issue we have with subs is conferences and stuff, there's no limit in the number of.
Right now, we're having a lot of trouble, you're having a lot of teachers covering double classes, because we had, like, for example, Monday, we had 6 teachers out sick. And we didn't have subs to cover a number of classes, so, as Dawn mentioned to me, she was teaching all of half of John Herman's classes for one day from the other stuff that she was doing, and sometimes we double classes up and put kids together,
Right.
because we have a problem.
Right.
You know, we've gotta work on that. That's a problem everywhere.
Yeah.
Now that the economy is better
Right.
and people can get jobs that pay more than subbing, we are losing subs.
Hmm.
But at this time of year, usually in about 4 weeks, we'll have college kids.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 weeks, we'll start to have college kids, but we're running into trouble.
Hmm.
We've had some nasty things going on in the building recently.
Okay, so, any questions about this? Okay, do I have a motion to accept the budget transfers as presented?
So moved.
Second?
And there's a new form to sign, do you need that?
I did.
Yeah,
It's here somewhere. We all sign it, right?
yeah.
Okay. Oh, you have it all written out, so.
She's gonna make absolutely
This is-
sure that it is recorded.
Well,
This
that's
is the
good.
And there's
total.
no question
Yes.
that it was done, it was voted on.
So you just totaled the two together?
That's correct.
Okay. All those in, we had a motion, a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's done. Fiscal year 15 teacher nominations.
We're gonna need to go.
You missed that.
Okay.
We may wanna do it on the school board.
Okay, joint school board selectmen's meeting. Short and sweet, Andy.
Oh, real-
Tell us your story.
Real quick, the selectmen, talked with the selectmen, I met with them. They noted that they're having a difficult time passing important budget items, the school board is having additional time passing budget items. They wanted me not necessarily to talk about how we can better promote these things, but kind of have a general discussion on the town, what's going on in town, and why this is going on. And maybe come up with, sort of brainstorm or come up with some ideas, some different things, some presentations, and different ways we could look at our budgets. And the fact that the selectman is willing to ally with the school board, I think is a great thing. And, because they'll be supporting us and we'll be supporting them, I think it's a great idea, so.
Did they have a couple of dates or anything?
No, they said just give them some dates and,
So give them like half an hour on our agenda to just shoot the breeze, is that what we should do first and see where it goes from there, or what?
well, they're actually talking like a joint selectmen,
Mhm.
school board meeting, so either be some, on one of our nights or one of their nights, which
Okay.
is Tuesday night, Thursday nights at 10. And it started at 6 o'clock.
Okay, so do they want us to come to theirs then, is that what you're saying?
Either way.
Start- You probably can go back and forth. you know.
I'll go back and
We
forth.
can hop over there, I guess, do we have to post that if we're meeting?
If you're gonna be meeting, yes.
Well, no, because we'd be meeting with them.
If you are, that's true, if you are a part of their, as a guest, if you are making decisions as a board, you have to post a joint meeting. You have to
All right,
go into session in their meeting
all right,
as a board. You call your meeting to order, they call their meeting to order, and you meet jointly,
all right.
and
With
you
the
have your
SAU
discussion, and then you end your meeting.
Would the SAU be bigger though?
It doesn't matter to me, do you think we should just invite them to our next school
Yeah,
board
we
meeting
could
and
do
put
that.
them on the agenda for
Right.
half an hour?
Right, okay.
So do you wanna do that, or do you wanna invite them, or do you want me to send them out?
I probably should come from the,
It's a Monday though, the next one, just so you know that.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
All
right.
28th.
well, what we can do, actually, it might even be better if we send them, saying, these are our next school boards, these are our list of school board meetings, this is our calendar, which one is best for you?
okay,
Yeah.
alright.
All right, that way, because if we invite, just say Monday, then they say, well, one guy can come, the other two can, I think all three of them wanna be there,
Okay.
all right?
Stay with me.
Alrighty, so we need to go into non-public then.
This is your time of day.
So I will entertain a motion
Right.
to go into non-public session for RSA 91:A.
Just
I mean,
one,
what?
all right, just one question before we do, we have no more public business?
That's right.
All right, because I did have some questions about the budget, this year's budget. we kind of glided right over that, we didn't even discuss it.
This year's budget, we were talking about for a long time.
All right.
But what do
Okay.
you got?
No,
No, go
nothing.
ahead.
No,
Andy, go ahead if you have something important to talk
no,
about.
we were talking about the 14 and.
13,
This, 14 and 15, I thought we were talking about the 15, so
I had given a list of questions I had that I'd like to have brought forward to
Do
the
you have
next
a-
meeting,
I
but
can,
Do you have questions about the current year or the
current year.
13, 14?
Yeah, just, and I can send these to you. I mean, my questions is, no periodicals were bought for the library so far this year. I don't know why. The line 2 is $10,000.
And the library periodicals.
Right, we set aside,
line 22.
yeah, we have $10,000 encumbered, for the, retirement point, you know, but we have one person who's putting in, another person putting in for retirement.
Right. The
I don't
other
know.
encumbrance is the strategic plan.
Right,
That-
but I didn't know if this person who's putting in for retirement, just putting in for retirement now, whether that's part of
No,
the
but you know
budget.
something, there should not be an encumbrance in that line.
there isn't,
And there isn't, I mean, no, but
Oh.
there's $10,000 in there, so, but,
it isn't encumbered.
right.
Okay.
Should it be encumbered, because she's
It's,
putting in for, she's putting in for the,
Yes.
The system doesn't,
Right.
well, yeah.
right, okay.
Well, you do it that
When
way.
when do teachers have to apply for sick time rebates? Is there?
That, I think it's May 1st.
May 1st?
Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
Yvonne sent those notices out today, right?
Yeah.
Right. And on line 2, okay, and on line 233, only 1/3 has been spent or encumbered. I don't even know
What is it called? Yeah,
I
what's it?
have to look at
It's
that.
course reimbursement.
Course, oh, yes,
Procure.
right, that my,
We
once
sent
again,
we
my,
sent a thing out to
yeah,
the
my
parents.
concern is that, this is never fully spent, and we have to fund it every year because the contract
It's contractually
is
bound.
contractually bound, but they never spend
And-
it.
And we have discussed
And
this.
then it goes back.
So it's
Right.
it's a subject for negotiation.
It is a subject for negotiation because they don't spend it. Okay, that's it, that's all I have to say.
So the only one I'll get back to you on is the periodicals, everything else I think I answered as we
Right.
went along.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public session, RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2C.
Moved.
Why die?
Well, I need a second.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
That's
There, I
okay.
was so focused.
That's all right. Brian, aye.
Raise eye.
Keen, aye.
Full fry.
So you guys say that again.
Okay, we've come out of non-public and we're now in regular session. So motion?
Motion to seal the minutes,
At the non-public meeting in perpetuity.
what she said.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on that? A roll call?
Yes. Well, you don't have to, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It does have to be 2/3, but it was.
Okay. And, a motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute, I have
Oh,
one thing I
sorry.
wanna mention. And this is very fast. I just need to correct myself. I spoke in error at the meeting last time. I was asked if there was a cost to the NEASC accreditation. There is no charge to go through the accreditation process, but you do have to pay for the team to come,
Yes.
put them up in a hotel
Right.
and pay the meals. So there is an
Okay.
expense, and it tends to run about $5,000, so.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for that.
Well, you're on that topic, you chose to table that, so that $4,000 should be part of the money and
The
putting
revenue,
back,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we really didn't
We didn't vote on
talk
it.
about that yet.
Okay.
So if, you know,
But
do,
But I would leave it as
make,
a, as
you
a
know,
list.
make your recommendation, then we'll
Okay.
decide on what we wanna
Okay.
do.
Also,
Cause I just suggested we might wanna wait on that until we
Okay.
do the co-op thing.
What are we gonna, we got another
That's just
non-meeting
something.
regarding our meeting with Sanborn, because we have to wait for Will to get back. I mean, because we have to we have to have a strategy session for our Sanborn meeting.
Yes.
Is next week.
You, me, and
Right,
Betsy,
we
why
set
don't
up
we,
that small group to talk.
All right. All right.
so why don't you just let us know when it's good for you, Betsy, cause you're the one who's up to your eyeballs in alligators right
It's
now.
next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gotta be this week, I think anytime on Friday.
And It's at Sam
Oh,
Boyd.
yeah, except for one.
Anytime
Let me
on
get my phone.
Friday?
Let me, and Thursday's not bad, let me take a look at my
Is
phone.
the Sanborn meeting is at 6:30 on the 16th?
Yes,
At Sanborn.
Yep.
that's Sandy, on Wednesday the 16th. Taking the bird feeder, Bear doesn't get to it. Let's see.
I'm open. Later, and
It
Friday,
has, mine has to be afternoon time.
the later the better for me.
Thursday, anytime.
Thursday I can do anytime.
Thursday,
What time can you get?
I've got a conference I gotta go to
Thanks.
from, I think it's 1 to 3. I can, let me see what.
Oh,
Okay,
that's news to me.
so, is that everything you think?
That's everything for me.
Anybody else have anything? All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
So good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.